So today we are talking about 3 killer moves that could be destroying your golf swing, but more importantly, we're going to show you how you can fix them.
Perfect.
Yes, so the topic of today's video is 3 movements or 3 faults that I tend to see far too often, which really cause golfers issues, especially when they're using the driver like we are today. So we're going to cover what those 3 things are, and then more importantly, how you can eradicate them from your game. Now, just before we get into that, I would love to just bring your attention to a brand new video training series that I've got on my website called Ultimate Ball Striking. It's a 4-part series, over 60 minutes of content. There's drills, there's tips, there's how to practice, there's games, there's telling you when you need to practice. Everything's over there for you to take your ball striking to the next level. I'll put a link up in the corner here. If you'd head over there, if you want to head over there, I should say, click that link. I'll also leave one in the description box down below. I've put a lot of effort into it. I'm really proud of this series, and I really believe it can help you improve your ball striking. Right, so let's get into today's video. 3 things that can kill your golf swing, and it might be a slightly extreme way of saying it, but these are the faults that I see all too often plaguing golfers when they come to me with those issues of missing fairways, inconsistent drives, or lack of distance. Very often it will be 1, 2, or even 3 of the things that we're going to cover in this video. So the first killer, the one that really can hold golfers back from playing their best golf, is just a poor connection to the golf club. Just placing the hands on the golf club incorrectly, causing loss of power, causing loss of control of the club face, and ultimately they struggle to deliver the club consistently down at impact. Now, we can talk about lead hand, trail hand, grip pressure, we can talk about multiple different aspects, but we're going to talk very much about where is the golf club or the handle actually placed in the hand, and we need to use the kind of down the line camera for that. When we take a really nice hold to the golf club, the grip should pretty much run through the fingers, as you can hopefully see that there. It should run from pretty much the middle of the index finger to about the base of the little finger. And when I wrap my fingers around and then the rest of my hand, it feels very much as if it's being held in the fingers. The real poor way to hold it, which I again see causing so many golfers issues, is when that grip is placed too high through the hand. So it might still be middle of the index finger, but it runs too much through the lifeline of the hand, too much through that crease. Now, very often when we see that from the face on, that also gives the golfer an appearance of a slightly weak grip. But it's the fact that it's held too high in the hand which really does 2 things that we really need to sort of get rid of. It really robs you of power because you can't use your wrists as well as you would like. And the other thing it does is it really makes it difficult to gain control of the golf club. And often the golfers who have that hold will communicate that as they just feel as if the club is a little bit loose in the backswing, or they're maybe not aware of where the club head is and it doesn't feel under control. And it can be very often linked back to that hold. So the great little exercise is just to set the golf club in behind the golf ball and then just open your hand and just place your hand against the golf club. And what we're really looking for here is actually, where do the fingers point? You'll notice that they point pretty much down towards the ground. If my grip gets too high in the hand, you'll notice those fingers point a little bit more out towards the golf club. So we really want you to feel as if those fingers are pointing down towards your toes, which gets the club running right through the correct part of the hand. Then when you close your fingers around, the top of the hand should sit very much on top of the handle. And the pad of your hand should feel like it's on top of the handle. That's another great way of thinking about this. Once I can do that, I've created a situation where I'm able to use my wrists, as you can see here. That's where I'm going to get the power and the control from. Too high in the hand and you lose that ability. So if I'm looking at the things that really cause golfers issues with the driver, the first one would be just how the hands are placed on the golf club. Get that correct and you will gain speed and control. And that was the first golf shot I've hit in over 5 weeks, because we've just come out of lockdown. Probably about 15 mile an hour slower than I'm used to, but it's in the fairway and I'd be very, very happy with that. So let's move on to the second killer move that I see. So the second movement which really holds golfers back, and it could well be holding you back, and I see this all the time, is just an incorrect or a poor rotation or pivot. The driver is potentially the most difficult club in the bag to use. It's the longest, we're generally swinging it the fastest, it's got the least amount of loft, and we need a little bit of time to be able to deliver the club and square the face. And many golfers, I say, don't give themselves enough time due to how they rotate in the backswing incorrectly. We're going to give you a super simple drill, and the best thing about this drill is you can do this at home, ideally in front of a mirror or a reflection, to kind of get some feedback as to kind of what this looks like. So when we're looking at rotation or a poor rotation, we see lots of different things. We see maybe an under rotation. That's really difficult to manage with the driver. Sometimes we see a golfer making a big sway off the ball this way. Sometimes you'll see a golfer making a big slide with the hips this way. All of these different movements can really cause issues. This is the exercise I want you to do, super simple. You're going to take your address to the golf ball and you're going to place your palms together as if you were holding a golf club. Now from here, what I want you to try and do is keep that lead hand in line with the ball, so don't let it move forwards, don't let it move back. And you're going to take your right arm and right palm, you're going to keep your arm straight, and you're going to try and move it as far behind your body as you can. Let me demonstrate what that would look like. So from here, left hand stays in place, and we open up that right side, and I really feel like I'm stretching that right arm behind me as far as I can. What you'll notice is happening from that face on camera is I'm achieving pretty much a 90-degree turn through my shoulders. What you'll also notice is that my chest, which at setup points a little bit down towards the ground because I'm tilted over the golf ball, suddenly when I make this movement, my chest now points a little bit more horizontally away from you. And what you'll also notice is those movements are allowing my head to stay very central. And the final thing you'll hopefully notice is that in order for me to get my right arm all the way around there, I'm having to use my legs, I'm having to rotate my hips, I'm having to change how my knees move. And all of these things are present in great golf swings. And if you're someone who really struggles with a rotation, you're that golfer who, moves the head off the ball this way, that's going to feel incredibly different to you. Now, that little exercise on its own is not necessarily going to change your golf swing. That exercise is one that should be used to create some ideas and some feelings of what we should be doing. So if you do that little exercise now, if I ask you to just stand up from wherever you are, do that little exercise. If that feels different to you, there's the kind of first point ticked off. It's kind of that first sign that, okay, potentially I'm not doing that in my golf swing. I've now just created the feeling of what I need to do. Therefore, a little bit of home training in front of that mirror, in front of that reflection to get a good feel of what that's like. Organise your body correctly, and then when you go to the driver and your practice facility and you introduce the golf club, you've got some positive things that you can try and work toward. You recognise what your old movement was like, and you can hopefully recognise what the new movement was like, and then from there we can start to introduce that same movement to create a really nice turn. The downswing, it doesn't take long, it's over very quickly. If we don't start it from the correct place, it's very difficult to try and fix anything. We're talking milliseconds here, so we've got to get ourselves organised at the top of the golf swing, and a good rotation, a good pivot is absolutely key to that. So that little drill is absolutely fantastic for anyone really struggling with that part of the golf swing. Once you've got the right ideas and the right feels, you can go ahead and put that into a swing. And that was the second drive in 5 weeks, and that one's a little bit on the right hand side, but I would take that considering I've not played a lot of golf. Right, let's move on to the final thing that could be causing you some real issues with your driver. The final thing that really causes golfers, and it could well be causing you huge issues with your driver, and this massively influences the club path and the club face, and those two things really are what controls the direction of the golf ball. So if you're someone watching this who struggles with direction, you use curve on the golf ball that you can't really control, this one could well be something you need to work on. And it is hanging back on the trail side for too long in the downswing. All of the best golfers out there, all of the golfers that you watch on TV, the ladies tour, the men's tour, all of those golfers will, as they start down, they will move their pressure to their lead side fairly early. Unfortunately, lots of the golfers that I coach will load into that trail side very well in the backswing, but from the top they stay on that back foot far too long. Now, why is this an issue? Well, we're generally going to have some rotation in the downswing. Most people do. But if I tend to hang on my back foot and rotate, it's very easy for me to have that golf club working very much across the golf ball like this. When that club moves across the golf ball, we get curve on the ball that generally makes the ball finish off to the right. And because it's a glancing blow, we can't transfer anywhere near as much energy to the golf ball. So we get wayward drives and short drives, and that's never going to end well. The best golfers hit long drives and straight drives, and that's what you can do by a little bit of work on this. So when we hang back on our trail side, it very often creates this outward path. So here's a great little exercise to help you sense what a good early weight shift would be. And that's the key thing, early, because it's no good if you absolutely hang on this trail side, swipe across it, and then move on to that lead side and have this nice full finish. It's not quite going to get it done. So take your address, lead foot moves across to your trail foot, and you're going to make some backswings. And before you complete your backswing, you're going to initiate your move across. Notice how my lead foot is going to get planted, and as it gets planted, there is some pressure going through it. It's not simply just a case of putting the foot down. I want to get to the top and actually feel like I'm putting some force through that leg, and then I can swing through to the finish. Now with any luck, when I do this, it will look fairly smooth and fairly natural. So as I start down, I'm transferring that pressure. Now, if you're someone who doesn't do this in your golf swing, you are that person who hangs back, that might be quite difficult, and it's quite difficult to organise the movements, but also get the timing right. And what you might find is that the first couple of times you attempt that, it's not quite synced, and there's a little bit of kind of, doesn't feel quite natural, and it doesn't feel timed well. You know, you might find that there's funny movements in there, and that's absolutely fine. And again, like we said already in this video, all these little drills are there to do is just give you some awareness of the right movement. And if that feels incredibly difficult to what you normally do, it's kind of a pretty good sign that that's something that you might need to work on in your golf swing. Now, absolutely you can hit balls this way if you want. I don't think it's essential. I just think the movement itself without the ball is a great one for anyone to kind of just understand a little bit about when and how we move onto that lead side in the downswing. But there's nothing to stop you hitting the golf ball that way. But a bit of training, step in, you've got an idea about when you should move that weight forward, and you can go ahead and do that. And that's 3 drives, all in the fairway, which I will definitely take after a long spell away from golf. So if you're struggling with your golf swing, you're struggling with your driver, missing fairways, missing the centre, losing distance, there's a very good chance it will be down to one of those 3 things, possibly 2. If you're unlucky, it might be all 3, but hopefully we've given you some ideas on what you can do to improve those things. Go to the driving range, put them into practice, and I'm sure you'll hit some straighter, longer drives next time you play. Thanks for watching. Usual stuff is down below. There's a comments box down there. There's a like button. Would love you to give it a thumbs up if you'd like it. Subscribe button over here, and we'll hopefully see you back for a future video very, very soon. Thanks for watching.